Rogue Notions is a tournament where every single meta NR deck is banned, meant to be a fun way for new strategies to come to light without being entirely pressed by the current meta. It's fun, it's janky, and it's just up my alley. Welcome to the Lab, the series where I test off-meta strategies and some of your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh formats. Today, and in our format, we're playing True Draco Ancient Warrior. Any funny video clip I put here would probably be offensive, so I'm not gonna do it. Here's the list. Ancient Warriors are a series of beast warrior-type monsters named after heroes from a Chinese 14th century novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Each of the three main attributes refers to one of the three kingdoms, while the spell and trap cards refer to plot points in the story. These spell and trap cards are all continuous effect cards that have effects either when sent to the graveyard or in the grave, making them have excellent synergy with the True Draco monsters, an archetype based around tribute summoning with continuous spell and trap cards. Due to the ban list, the floodgates that make True Draco absolutely annoying aren't as prevalent, with cards like the Monarch's Erupt and Dimensional Fissure being banned. So without these True Dracos living without a home, maybe they can find a place to live in the kingdom instead. First, we'll talk about the True Dracos. 3 copies of Majesty's Maiden, the True Draco caster. Like all the True Dracos, she's able to be tribute summoned using continuous spell and trap cards. Her main effect is that once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summoned monster, you can add a True Draco or True King monster from your deck to your hand. 3 copies of Ignis Heat, the True Draco Warrior. It has the same tribute summon effect as Majesty Maiden, but his effect states that once per turn when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control this tribute summon monster, you can take one True Draco or True King continuous spell from your deck and either activate it or add it to your hand. And 2 copies of Dariath III, the True Draco Cavalry General? It has the same effect to tribute using face-up continuous spell and traps, however it also has a couple of other effects. Your opponent cannot target face-up True Draco or True King monsters on the field with card effects except this one, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And if this face-up tribute summon monster leaves the field, you can special summon one True Draco or one True King monster from your deck in defense position. Now, normally this would be pretty good, except that all of the True Draco monsters require to be tribute summoned in order to get their effects out. So typically you're going to be using this for either Link plays or Xyz plays. For spell traps, we have 2 copies of True Draco Heritage and 3 copies of Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. They both share an effect when sent to the graveyard that pops a spell trap on the field, and allow you both to tribute summon a True Draco/True King monster in addition to your regular normal summon. Disciples' unique effect is that it lets you target 3 True Draco or True King cards from your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck, then draw a card. And True Draco Heritage's unique effect is during your main phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of True Draco and True King card types, monster, spell, and trap, sent from the field to the graveyard this turn. For the trap cards, we have True King's Return and True Draco Apocalypse. Both Return and Apocalypse have the same 2 effects, similar to Disciples and Heritage, allowing you to, when sent from the field to the grave, allow you to pop 1 monster, and allow for you to tribute summon True Draco or True King monsters during your opponent's main phase. The unique effect of Return is, you can target 1 True Draco or True King monster in your graveyard, special summon a defense position. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon. You could use this effect during your opponent's end phase, allowing for you to basically ignore that special summon condition. But it also states that it's for the rest of this turn, so if it's the last play you want to do, you can also do that. And for True Draco Apocalypse's effect, you can target one other True Draco or True King card you control, destroy it, and if you do, the attack/defense of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls becomes half their current attack and defense, even as this card leaves the field. This effect is lingering, so after this card has resolved its effect, that attack decrease is permanent. Next, the Ancient Warriors. 1 copy of Graceful Zhu Gong. You can target 1 continuous spell trap you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, add 1 Ancient Warrior spell trap from your deck to your hand. This is a fantastic cycler for any of the True King or True Draco cards, as well as some of the other effects for your Ancient Warriors cards. And getting new cards from deck to hand is always welcome. His second effect applies when one of your other Ancient Warrior monsters' effects activates. When this happens, you can target an opponent's effect monster and negate it for the turn. 2 copies of Eccentric Lu Jing. His first effect is similar to Zhu Gong's, but instead of adding that from the deck to the hand, he gets a differently named one from the graveyard to add to hand. Also, when another Ancient Warrior activates its effect, he can pop an opponent's back row. 3 copies of Ingenious Zhu Kong. Zhu Kong? I'm sorry. Alright, I'm sorry. If this card is added from the deck to your hand by the effect of an Ancient Warriors card, you can special summon it. He also has a spell trap negate that sends face-up Ancient Warrior spell traps. If you really want the Ancient Warrior spell trap to be in the grave, you can even negate your own card by sending the card you just activated, which is a really cute play that you can set up your grave with what you need. 3 copies of Fearsome Zhang Yuan. He has an on-field battle protection for all their Ancient Warrior monsters, an Honest-like effect that lowers your opponent's monsters by 1000 attack, that, at the same time, special summons himself out for free, and if any card your opponent controls is destroyed, you can target and destroy another one of your opponent's cards. He really does rub salt in the wound. 3 copies of Loyal Guan Yun, aka Pankratops at Home. If only your opponent controls monsters, you can special summon him out for free. Other Ancient Warriors cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and if your opponent controls more monsters than you can target one monster they control and destroy it. And to wrap up the monsters, 1 Valiant Zhang Di. During your turn, he can gain 300 attack for each monster the opponent controls. He can be special summoned from the hand if you have 2 or more Ancient Warrior monsters in the field. And if your opponent has more monsters than you, he can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during the battle phase. Finally, we're onto the spell traps. 3 copies of 3 visits. During your main phase, if you normal or special summon an Ancient Warrior, you can add a different one from deck to hand. Typically, you're going to want to grab Zukong so you can get that free special summon and a spell trap negate. 3 visits also lets you special summon an Ancient Warrior monster from your hand if it's sent from the field to the graveyard. Finally, some of the Ancient Warrior spell traps send themselves to the grave after your second standby phase, including this one. 2 copies of Borrowing of Arrows. This card lets you target one of your opponent's monsters and one Ancient Warrior monster you control, and have the opponent's attack and add that amount to your monster. And if this card leaves the field and is sent to the grave, while you control 2 different Ancient Warriors with different attributes, you can place another Ancient Warrior spell trap from your hand or deck to the field. This is an incredibly high roll effect and requires a bit of setup, but it's well worth the investment if you can make it happen. 2 copies of East by South Winds. This whole card's effect is basically trying to get it to the grave. You can flip a coin, and if it's heads, it's sent to the grave. Its second standby phase clause sends it to the grave as well. But what does it even do when it goes to the grave? Well, your opponent can't respond to your Ancient Warrior's card's effects this turn, and it gives all your currently face-up Ancient Warrior monsters the effect to pop one of your opponent's cards when it declares an attack. Notice that pop effect on declaration isn't a once per turn, so cards like Zhang Di, which have multiple attacks, can pop more than once. Finally, for the traps, we have 2 copies of Defense of Changbang. Your opponent can't activate spell traps when an Ancient Warrior monster battles. You could send this card from the field to the graveyard at the start of your opponent's battle phase to make Ancient Warriors unable to be attacked that turn. And when your opponent declares an attack while this card is in the graveyard, you could banish this card and special summon an Ancient Warrior from the deck. Important to note, you can't use the second and third effect during the same turn. And finally, 1 Chivalrous Path. You could send this card to the graveyard instead if an Ancient Warrior would be destroyed by battle. If your opponent special summons a monster, you could special summon a Wind Beast Warrior 500 attack and defense token. And finally, you can banish this card from your graveyard when a card or effect is activated that targets an Ancient Warrior monster and negate it. Man, that main deck was like an ancient Chinese novel. Riveting, but quite long. For the extra deck, we're playing some rank 4s, Black Ship, Malevolent Sin, and Asophiel. We have some rank 5s in Volcasaurus and Shark Fortress, a rank 6 in Swordbreaker, and a rank 7 in Dark Armed the Dragon of Armageddon. These are edge case XCAs monsters that aren't really what you want to go into, but are nice to have. For the links, we have 2 copies of Firefighting Darumidal, usable only by the Ancient Warrior monsters due to their material restriction. However, it also lets you pop spells and traps on your field and your opponent's, which could be good. As well as when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monster that is banished from the graveyard and add it to your hand. Typically, it's going to be more of your Ancient Warriors. 1 Codebreaker Virus Swordsman, 1 Geonator, 1 Dispatch Parazzi, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Berserker of the Tenyi, and 1 Rugal. Whew. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the games. Our first match is up against Unchained Labyrinth, and this hand is pretty good. Normally we want to be going second in order to get the extra card advantage, but we'll have to make do with what we have. We're going to activate 3 visits, normal summoning out our Eccentric Lu Jing, and then adding from deck to hand a copy of Zukong. Special summoning out Zukong, activating South by South Winds, setting 1, and passing the turn. Our opponent's going to normal summon out Rakea and go to the battle phase. We're going to activate the trap that sends itself to the graveyard to go ahead and prevent it from being destroyed by battle. They're going to set 1 card in the back row and destroy it, going to be activating the Indomitable Chamber, adding out the Sarama effect, targeting the trap card, popping the Rakea, and Rakea effect, bringing out the Aruha, setting 4 into the back row in total and passing the turn. For a turn, we're going to draw True King's Return. We're going to activate the East by South Winds. Getting a Tails, not what you want to see. Your main thing is you want to get this card in the graveyard as best as possible, but at least we still have Spell Trap Negate for later. We're going to activate Eccentric Lu Jing, taking our Ancient Warrior spell trap with a different name from the graveyard, our Chivalrous Path, and sending off the East by South Winds. Adding back the trap card to hand, our East by South Winds activates. We are going to set the True King's Return, tribute summoning Ignis Heat, and popping the Sarama. True DRACO Warrior is going to activate. Going to grab ourselves a copy of True DRACO Heritage and activating it. Sarama is going to bring out the Unchained Dracea. We're going to activate True DRACO Heritage to add another card. With the influence of East by South Winds, we can easily pop through this board. They're going to activate Ichiroku's Ledger Book, which allows them to target 2 monsters we control and banish them to the end phase. We are going to negate that with Ingenious Warrior Zukong's effect. And the Chain Resolve, and then, after activating that effect, we're going to activate Eccentric Lu Jing to let it pop a spell trap they control, and we get the chance to activate Ancient Warrior Saga 3 Visits, allowing me to special summon another Ancient Warrior monster from my hand, bringing out the Ingenious Zukong I already have. Putting that into defense mode, and the Eccentric Lu Jing is going to pop the Labyrinth. They're going to activate another copy of Ledger Book. Are you kidding? Okay, well, 2k healing isn't that bad. We're going to pop over that Rakea, going into the Draco Heat, and passing the turn, setting 1 card face down. They're going to activate Indomitable Chamber in the end phase, allowing them to bring out the Sarama, and both of our monsters come back onto the field. They draw for turn, that's a pretty good one. They're going to activate the effect of Sarama to set back the Indomitable Chamber. We're going to chain the Ignis Heat in order to activate or add to hand another spell trap. And we're going to activate Chivalrous Path in order to get a free token out of the field once they special summon out another Unchained monster. We're going to add True DRACO Heritage to the hand. They're going to set the card and pop one. Aruha is going to special summon out the Rakea. We're going to bring out in defense position a Ancient Warriors token. And they're going to go to the battle phase, hit over the Eccentric Lu Jing. We're going to try to keep the Ingenious Zukong and make them have to go ahead and toss another one into there, allowing us to get some material for later. They're going to Exceed Summon into Grand Pulse, destroying our spell trap and wanting us to pop. We are not going to pop the Indomitable Chamber. We are smarter than that. They're going to set 1 card and pass. We're going to draw for turn. We activate Disciples of the True DRACO. Not really having too much that we can do here, but with the token and this, we're able to link summon into Firefighting Darumidal. They're going to Dogmatic Punishment beforehand. We're going to activate True DRACO Warrior's effect once again, adding another spell trap, adding another spell from there, activating it onto the field. And after popping that, we're going to straight into the battle phase. We can only hit over the Sarama, and the Sarama is going to activate its effect to bring out another Aruha. They draw for turn, and Labyrinth Archfiend is just what they needed in this matchup. We're going to activate Ignis Heat once again, adding one of our final spell traps from deck to hand, another Disciples of the True DRACO. True DRACO Phoenix. The trap card activates, bringing out Labyrinth Archfiend. Labyrinth Archfiend has 3,600 attack, going to set the Fair Welcome Labyrinth, going to turn all monsters to attack position, normal summon Sarama, and to get in for just over lethal. It's a dang shame what this deck can deal with. However, I feel like we were pretty well in that game if they didn't end up drawing that Labyrinth Archfiend. Just a dang shame that they got that chance, but still, the amount of card advantage that other decks get in this format is very high compared to this one. Game 2 is going to be another showcase against Unchained Labyrinth, but this time we're going to show what happens when we go second. Opponent goes first. They're going to activate a copy of Abomination's Prison, adding Escape of the Unchained to their hand. Normal summoning out Aruha, setting 4 and passing the turn. For our turn, we're going to activate ourselves a copy of Borrowing of Arrows, setting 1 to the back row, and then special summoning out Pancratops at Home. Normal summoning out Graceful Longzun, activating its effect to send the Ancient Warrior Saga to the grave. They're going to activate the effect of Escape of the Unchained. Because of Loyal Guan Yun's effect, they cannot target our Graceful Zugong, so our effect ends up going off anyway. We add from deck to hand a copy of 3 Visits. They're going to activate Aruha, spring out the Unchained Twins Rakea, activating the we're going to activate 3 Visits, and we're going to go to the battle phase, hit over the Rakea. They're going to bring out Sarama. We're going to set 1 and pass the turn. They draw for turn. They end up getting a copy of Escape of the Unchained. They're going to set a copy of Aruha and pop it. And Aruha's effect is going to bring out a Rakea. They're going to set one and pass. They don't have enough to go ahead and bring out the 1600 attack monster, which is great for us. We're going to draw for turn. We're going to activate True King's Return. They're going to target Escape of the Unchained, and they're going to be able to go ahead and pop our monster. That's quite unfortunate, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. They're going to bring out the Aruha. We're going to Tribute Summon out the Ignis Heat. We're going to pop their Sarama, and they're going to Torrential Tribute in response, which is fine. We're going to activate Ignis Heat. We're going to activate its effect to put onto the field a copy of True Draco Heritage. While this may destroy all of our monsters, True Draco Heritage lets us, at the end of the chain, draw 2 cards. They're going to activate Sarama and Aruha, bring out 2 other Unchained twins, Sarama and Rakea. We're going to draw 2 cards, and those are some pretty good ones, but we don't need to worry about that for right now. They draw for turn, they get another Torrential Tribute. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. They're going to set a copy of Escape of the Unchained. They're going to pop Compulsory Activation Device, and this tells me that because they didn't pop Escape of the Unchained, we've cycled through most of, if not all, of their Unchained monsters, so we're sitting pretty. We're going to activate True Draco Apocalypse. True Draco Apocalypse effect is going to pop True Draco Heritage, having the attack of both Sarama and Rakea. Knowing that they didn't pop that, we're feeling pretty confident. We're going to pop their secondary back row. It's going to be another Compulse. Interesting. They're going to attack for a total of 1500, set 1 more monster, and pass the turn. We're going to draw for turn. The second standby effect of 3 visits activates, allowing us to special summon out Ingenious Zukong. We're going to activate Ancient Warrior Saga, and we're going to go to the battle phase. Ingenious allows us to come out, attacking that Rakea, and Faye allows us to destroy the Torrential Tribute. Because this was in the damage step due to this effect, you're not able to activate the effect of Torrential Tribute, which is fantastic. And before they're able to Rakea summon out another monster to use the Torrential, we're going to Fearsome Zukong, pop the Torrential. The Sarama is going to be destroyed. We're going to Tribute Summon out Dirath, activating the effect, and they're going to scoop it up from here. We have gathered too much advantage. They're out of Unchained monsters, and only a really, really good top deck could save them now. Our third match is going to be up against Spirit Kaiju, and this deck is actually pretty funny. I'm a big fan of Naja's play with this deck overall, and I think it's just one of the most annoying decks to be going up against in general. We draw for turn. We're going to first. We're going to activate a copy of 3 visits, adding from deck to hand with our normal summon Ingenious Zukong, special summoning out Zukong, activating the effect of Valiant Zhang Ding, and passing the turn. They're going to normal summon Aratama, and going to add from deck to hand a copy of Hebo. They're going to battle over our Eccentric Lu Jing, which is totally fine with me. They're going to set 3 cards and pass the turn. Aratama effect adds itself back to hand. Now, I'm thinking that we might have a chance for lethal if they end up not having any form of interruption. We're going to activate Disciples of the True Draco, activating its effect to Tribute Summon out Majesty Maiden, popping the Paleozoic Oleonoids. They end up being patient and not activating the Torrential Tribute, which is absolutely devastating. We're going to get Majesty Maiden effect off to allow it to add a True Draco monster. We're going to add Ignis Heat, and then they're going to try to pop the Saga. We're going to Saga effect, special summon out the Ingenious Zukong, and they're going to Torrential for 4, and the only monster we have in hand is a Tribute Summonable monster. That is absolutely devastating. They're going to draw for turn. They're going to bring out Hebo. They're not even going to activate the effect. They're going to beat us for 1800 and pass. Let's see if we can get draw for turn. Anything? Nope. They need a monster on the field, and this deck specifically does not put monsters out at the end of the turn. They're going to Hebo, attack for battle phase, go in, set another... bring himself on back. Ooh, man, oh man, this is just crazy. We do have something we can do. Unfortunately, because this deck does play how it does, any form of normal summon is actually against us right now, but we need to have something in case they have any form of follow-up on the next turn. We're going to normal summon out Graceful Zugong, not even activate its effect, just get in for some damage to keep ourselves a little bit alive in case they Hebo. But this is, unfortunately, the misplay that ends the game. They're going to activate Kyoto Waterfront. They're going to tribute summon Jizukiru. They're going to bring out their own Jizukiru. They're going to Hebo target our Jizukiru. They're going to activate Paleozoic Oleanoids, pop in the Kyoto Waterfront, but they're going to activate that in order to bring out the Oleanoids in the graveyard. And they're going to keep the Kyoto Waterfront by using the Kaiju counter instead of destroying it. And here's the cute play. Paleozoic Oleanoids is treated as a normal monster, allowing them to bring out Imduk the World Chalice. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster this card points to, you can destroy that opponent's monster. They're going to get lethal us using Imduk and Jizukiru and Hebo. Oh man, this deck is absolutely fantastic and might be one I might be considering showing off later. Our final match is up against Chad Turbo, and we are going second. Chad Turbo is an absolutely chaotic level 5 warrior summon deck. It's just something that I am incredibly concerned about. Luckily, they break. They're going to set one Mystical Space Typhoon and pass the turn. We're going to draw. We're going to activate a copy of Borrowing of Arrows, normal summon Ignis Ingenious Zukong, and pass the turn because we don't have much of anything either. They're going to draw for turn. They're going to activate a copy of Mystical Space Typhoon, allowing us to send that to the graveyard with Ingenious Zukong's effect. They're going to activate MST in any way, which is very unfortunate. We were hoping they were going to bring out any form of normal summon in order to activate the True King's Return, but we decided to just go ahead and activate it just for funsies. They're going to see it anyway. The Ingenious Zukong is going to not be destroyed by the True King's Return. They're going to just pass. Just pass. They got rid of our background. That was it. But we only have spell traps. We don't have any other monsters. We have no true Dracos in order to special summon, in order to tribute summon out. Using all these advantage, we're just going to turn our Ingenious Zukong sideways and pass the turn. For turn, they're going to activate Nobleman of Extermination. We're going to activate Defense of Changbang in order to blank the Nobleman of Extermination, which is actually a cute little play to help stop back row, especially if it ends up being torrential or any other form of battle trap. They're going to activate Despia Theater of the Branded and using its effect to fusion summon. Now, what I was considering here is activating Ingenious Zukong's effect in order to negate the Despia Theater of the Branded, negate the activation, but it's a field spell, so I don't think that would cause it to not be on the field anyway, which is weird. They're going to eat a 10, add from deck to hand a copy of Joker's Knight. Joker's Knight effect going to send the Jack's Knight. Joker's Knight comes on out. They're going to activate, I'm going to activate the effect of Defense of Changbang, make it so they cannot target this monster for battle, and we just need one monster! Not going to be the case. But we're going to do a cute little effect right here. Never mind, I thought I was going to be smart about this. If I activated the effect of Ingenious Zukong in order to pop my own East by South Winds, I can gain the effect to destroy a monster my opponent controls. I could go into Joker's Knight and send out the Ida 10 as well, if I really wanted to. We're going to Ancient Warrior Saga, targeting the Ida 10, and then going into the Ingenious Zukong, popping the Joker's Knight, but unfortunately, I haven't read this card. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target another Light Warrior monster you control, shuffle into the deck, and add this card to your hand. Oh, that's unfortunate. They draw for turn, and it's another Jack's Knight. How funny. We're going to Despia. They're going to Despia Theater the Branded. Fusion summon out another Ida 10, the Conqueror Star. Ida 10 effect, going to add a copy of Warrock Mahmood. They're going to Ida 10 effect, making our Ancient Warrior Zukong go to 0, Ida 10 for 3k, and before they're able to get into lethal with Mahmood, we're going to activate the effect of Defense of Changbang, allowing us to special summon out an Ancient Warriors monster from the deck. We're going to bring out ourselves a copy of Loyal Guanyun. This effect would be fantastic, allowing it so that way they cannot, we could pop one of their cards and prevents them from having any form of follow-up for the next turn, even a matter of fact, popping the Despia Theater, the Branded, if we're really trying to stop that train. But they're going to activate Feast of the Wild level 5, bringing back both Jack's Knights, and XC summoning into Volcasaurus. Volcasaurus' effect is going to activate, allowing them to target the Loyal Guanyun, which does not prevent targeting on itself, popping it, and ending the game. Quite an unfortunate showcase there, and really shows one of the problems with this deck. You need the true Dracos in order for a lot of the spell traps to go online, and there maybe aren't enough for it to really work out most of the time. So those were the games, and maybe tribute summons aren't the most efficient use of resources, even if they are spell and traps. The pros of this deck. 1. This is probably the best use of the True Dracos at the moment. All of the Ancient Warrior spell traps have great abilities when sent to the grave, and the True Dracos ensure they happen. 2. The unique style of the Ancient Warriors allows for some sick outplays, and the high-level monsters having protection effects that aren't really common give it a rough matchup for inexperienced players. And 3. If this deck gets going, its constant ability to break boards with unique popping effects give it a great matchup, even versus decks that love being destroyed like Unchained. And the cons. 1. This deck is difficult to pilot. Understanding what sort of effects and what kind of influence the Ancient Warriors have on each other is something that not only your opponent needs to understand, but you do too. 2. The True Dracos are just too slow. Without the floodgates that made them annoying to deal with, they really just show how slow their advantage engine can be. Plus, without the Trap Searcher, its power is just a little bit behind the curve. And 3. If you break on spell traps, good luck. The deck has no respondability without a monster in the field or a True Draco in hand, whereas with most decks, set 5 pass is almost a death sentence to your opponent. My final thoughts on this deck are as follows. While these cards have great synergy with each other, it probably isn't enough to crack into Top Cut without some major time investment. If you learn this deck, you'll be greatly rewarded, but those who refuse to learn ancient history are doomed to be defeated. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content. Also, thank you to MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! For the formula of this series. His 10-minute testing for the TCG is the kind of content that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Space needs more of, and I hope that my spin for alt formats does it justice. My name is Doc Conrad, Yugioh, and I hope to see you back in the lab.